Welcome to Pollen Weather by Pollen Wise App. It's Wednesday, July 1st. I'm Landon Bunderson, and this is the place for allergy news and forecasts. Just another day in grass pollen season, but things will be changing up for some of you soon as more weeds begin to pollinate. In anticipation of weed season, we're going to talk about a particular weed hotspot. The people of Denver, Seattle, Las Vegas, and Austin should listen closely. But first, the forecasted high pollen levels for today. San Francisco Bay Area and Houston are the only places we're forecasting very high pollen levels today. Otherwise, lots of pollen levels in the 40s, especially in the eastern states. Those are fairly low highs, if you know what I mean. Texas is going to be your mold hotspot for today. It seems that the recent rains have encouraged a new crop of mold spores to grow, and windy conditions on the I-35 corridor are only going to make that worse. Northern Alabama, much of your area will receive at least a quarter inch of rainfall today, which means your pollen and mold levels will drop to zero. This will also occur over much of Missouri and Minnesota. Air quality hasn't changed much since yesterday. Some bad air around Lake Michigan and Southern California. As always, urban areas should especially check their local air quality outlets. And finally, temperatures starting to return to a more seasonal heat in the west and northeast. Going to be a pretty regular looking July 1st for most of us. Okay, weed hotspots. Weeds are everywhere, but there is one place in particular that weeds like to accumulate. Here's a hint. Weeds are often called pioneer species. A pioneer species is a plant that settles disturbed land. The reason I called out Denver, Seattle, Las Vegas, and Austin is that they are some of the fastest growing cities in the country. Fast growing means lots of construction. Construction means disturbed soils. Whether the construction is commercial or residential, from the time that the land is cleared until the time that the landscape is put in, much of the area designated for construction is going to be covered in weeds. Many pioneer weed species produce highly allergenic pollen. Many of these plants fall into the ragweed and chenopod amaranth groups. If you live near a construction site covered in weeds, your weed pollen levels can become excessive. So what can you do about it? First, identify sites covered in weeds. As an allergy sufferer, you should always be thinking about where pollen is coming from. Second, steer clear of weedy spots when you notice that ragweed and or chenopods amaranths are rising on the Pollen Wise app. Keep in mind that pollen levels are highest within a short distance of the source. We're talking about less than a quarter mile. Another thing you can do is talk about the problem. Write a letter to your municipality. Call the construction company. Ask them what they're doing about the pollen problem. While there are state and federal regulations that require construction companies to limit dust and protect water systems, there are no regulations that specifically protect allergy sufferers from all of the pollen coming off of construction sites. This won't change if people aren't even aware of the problem. As weed season approaches, we'll do our best to educate you about how to identify problematic weeds. For now, download the Pollen Wise app and make sure you have alerts turned on. If you need more information on weed pollen on construction sites, email us at info@pollenwise.com. Also, like, subscribe, and share this video.